Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Bombard right here on your Bon Radio NG. My name is Olunloyo. You know the one and only. And I'm right here today to give you plenty gist. Today, there's quite a number of things we're going to be talking about at the bar today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Today is a lot of politics, actually. There's a lot of updates from the Nigerian coalition that has been going on for and I actually also have a few clarifications that we're going to be giving with a lot of updates we've been getting. But, there are quite a lot of questions too. I too have quite a few questions that maybe also need clarification. So we're going to be talking about it together today. Also, Lagos has officially begun the ban of single-use plastics. They have announced it yesterday. And then there's a bit of a breakdown of what has been banned and what is not being banned. So it's good to keep ourselves updated. So, and the way it is now, Lagos is not smiling, so that you don't get yourself on the wrong side of the law. It's good to keep ourselves updated on what is and what is not. There's also an update on the issue with Mohbad's case. And I think specifically Naira, there's an update from that angle that we're going to be giving also. And Oyo State has now come to say that the naming of Ibadan Polytechnic stays, they're not changing it for anybody. So looks like the protest did not work, if that's what that means. But that and a whole lot of other things are things we're going to be talking about today at the bar. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Like I said, my name is Dolupo, and with me in the studio today is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Okay, so we're getting straight into the show today, and there are quite a number of things that we're going to be talking about.
Take me off.
So there are quite a number of things we're going to be talking about on the show today. First things first, the federal government has launched a $40 million blueprint ICT project that they're saying that is supposed to digitize 10 universities at first. This was announced by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa. And he said that the implementation is going to start with 10 federal universities nationwide. According to him, it's starting with the University of Calabar, the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, University of Ibadan, Federal University of Technology, Mina, University of Maiduguri, Bayero University, Kano, Modibo Adama University, Yola, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, and University of Jos. Are you done? So, basically, I think what they're looking at is digitizing a lot of educational things in these universities, and these 10 universities are like the pilot.
Yeah, it's always been like that with innovation and new things. Remember when under former President Buhari, they were going to start the independent power thing with solar power panels. Oh my God.
So basically those schools, I hope that, because let's be honest, there's also another angle where a lot of, would I say, Nigerians fight change. Let me put it like that. I think that's the word. Actually fight change. So I hope that things would be done properly. That's what it is, because it's one thing, if except one is naive, there's a lot of things that go on in the systems that people do not. A lot of people just say, oh, government this, government that. I think that it would really help if also these university systems also make things very seamless.
Yes, it would. And it's one thing to plan, it's one thing to project, but it's another thing to get everybody on board to know that, okay, very this is for the greater good, and this is why some of these things have to. People resist change
a lot.
You know.
Yeah.
Let me digress. I remember the church that I attend a couple of years ago, many years ago, when churches did not have air conditioners. When it was proposed, there were actually people who protested. They're like, no. Why do you want to put AC in the church? Blah 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 blah. This was in the 80s, but of course the vote was carried and they went ahead. And now look at it now. You look back and you cannot imagine a church without AC or a hall without air conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
Many years ago, it was the ceiling fans that were standard in most halls and churches and all. And basically, what I'm trying to say there is that because it was new, people kicked against it.
Yes.
The digitization that they are talking about, if done properly, will move Nigerian universities forward.
Yeah.
The admin aspect of things,
a lot of things that you would even say, and the truth is that I actually think that we are quick to say, our educational system is backward and all those things. Mm-hmm. So if we allow some of these things work, and I know what I'm saying when I say we allow it, if we ourselves allow these things work by ourselves, I think that it's going to do a lot.
Yeah, like I was saying, the admin side of things now, for instance, when you look at how thousands of students register every session. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the ones that are still there are going to re-register. They're still going to take their course forms around, and it's paper.
Yeah.
And a lot of paper is being used. You get, where do they store these things? That's why one day you just be there buying suya and it's your
paper. Yeah, because how are they going to keep up? How are they really going to keep up?
So, but when you digitize, you save money on paper, space. Have you been to the archives of any of these
That
schools?
is easy to call up. So these things, it's really.
And again, even for the people who want to go back to maybe do their masters or they want to go abroad, it will be easier to call up their exam results. It will be easier for registration.
Can I be a little on the other side when it comes to paper, though?
Yes, please.
So this is me, and this is what happened to me, I think, when I was in 400 level in University of Ibadan. So about to graduate, and basically you have to go and look for all your courses. Then my course supervisor called and said, where are you? I'll see, blah, blah, blah. I went to see the man. So I had a 100 level course, which was, we didn't write an exam for it. We don't write. It's a practical course that you do first and second semester. And so you just do practicals week in, week out. They calculate your practicals, calculate everything, and that's how you get scored, yeah? Mm-hmm. And because I had, year after year, you're supposed to, if you don't get a particular set of points, you don't move to the next one. So because I always got those points, nobody really thought to check if the courses I took, everything, and unfortunately this course we're talking about was in a completely different faculty. But I needed the course as part of the requirements to graduate. It wasn't even an elective. It was required, but my department didn't have it. But at the point of graduation, number of courses, not even the number of courses, there are some courses that are required that you have to have passed, but there was no score for it. And then I was like, okay, it's practical. How didn't you do this? I said, I did it, blah, blah, blah. So I went to the faculty on a fact-finding mission. And where I was there for I was going back and forth for 3-4 days. By the time we got to the 4th day, a lecturer saw me. Funny enough, this lecturer and I had a bit of quanta 2-3 years ago. However, the man, I would say that the man is not a vindictive person. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And he saw me, apparently he had been seeing me in that faculty.
I didn't want to break your flow. You talked about having quanta with lecturers, so.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was, to be honest, I will not say it was a bit of my fault or not being a bit patient with some things, yeah? With some registration, which I felt that, and it was this thing that you talked about, signing paper up and down, I was just frustrated that day, basically. So, the man are you know the one that, you this girl again, yeah. I said, no, at this point, I'm not even looking for trouble. I'm just looking for, and I told him what happened. And he said, that this thing is an easy A for everybody. So, it's either you didn't do it, or you passed that. Nobody fails it. I said, I passed that. The man, and then they went to look for, it was actually digitized and everything. My name was not even on the list. It's like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. However, we used to have, attendance sheets. These attendance sheets, one was with the department, one was with us. So when you come, but they'll always tell you, make the one that is with you, make sure it is signed before you leave.
Okay.
He now said the only thing that can save you at this point, that attendance sheet that you had in 100 level, keep in mind, this is me in 400 level. If you can produce it, then you don't have a choice. We'll have to go and look for, at least that's evidence that you did it. Thankfully, I did not throw those things out. So I went to look for it. It took me a few hours, actually. I think about 24 hours. I found it. I raced back to the man the next morning that I found it, blah, 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 blah. That paper was what made them go and look for it. Apparently, it was a matter of, there were two of us that had the same surname. So the person typing thought it was the same person and just imputed one person's result and left the second. And that, until they now went to look for my paper and all that, and apparently I had a 92. So in that case, paper saved my life. Literally. It saved me from having an extra year.
Look, I get that part and everything, but that's the more reason why paper needs to go. The fact that you have captured something electronically,
but it was captured wrongly.
That's what I'm saying. You get, like, all they needed was a foolproof system. How many people registered? How many are there? If you all had that and they built an app for the students, and you would have everything in real time. I believe that we need to move this thing that you pointed out shows lapses here and there, and those are the things that you use to correct such lapses. But I just think that it's high time we moved away from a lot of analog things that we do, especially in admin work. If you've had, just visit any hospital, any government-owned hospital, and you will see the stacks of paper and everything.
I think that I would say kudos to Lagos State. Lagos State's hospitals, I think I've visited 2 different ones, and more recently, a few months ago, I'd visited one where someone had given birth, and I was there a couple of days. Apparently, everything is now digitized.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Because again, if even down to accounts.
So you have a number. It's the number on your card that is used to look for
That's it.
And all that. And so I get your point, yeah, where that those things have to, especially when there are things like fire or flood.
The paper that you went to bring, it could have been forged. You could have forged it. It could have been forged. But when you have an electronic footprint, it's not like they don't hack, but it will be something for you to want to hack exam results.
It's not that deep.
I
get your point.
So fully digitizing Nigerian schools, starting with 10 and spreading them across all the 6 geopolitical zones, is a welcome development.
It is really a welcome development. So we're going to be following this. Hope that whatever this is done properly. Now, let's do a bit of there's a lot of politics we're going to be talking about. But before we get into politics straight, there's news that dropped yesterday, and I felt that we also need to, is more of an information, and this is from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. So INEC has announced their comprehensive electoral timetable for 2025-2026. We know that because of governors, especially governors, or maybe House of Assembly being sacked, or people dying, or one thing or another, there are off-cycle elections. So there's almost no year that you go around that there are no major elections, except maybe presidential election and a few governorship elections. So for that, they have not released the things that they plan to do for the rest of the 2025 and 2026. And it's very interesting because I think that is something that is worthy of following. So what they're saying is that the between 2025 and 2026, the 5 major elections that are going to be involved in, or they're going to be conducting actually, and there's nationwide resumption of the continuous voter registration. According to the INEC chairman, it's starting from August 16th, where they're going to have by-elections in 12 states. I don't know, we had talked about that earlier. But from August 16th, then to November 8th, where the Anambra State governorship election is going to hold. So it is this year. We need to keep ourselves abreast of these things. Then look, in 2026, the FCTA area council elections are also going to hold as early as February 21st, 2026. Then we go to the Ekiti governorship election, which is June 20, and Osun State governorship election, August 8th of 2026. However, other than elections, say that nationwide resumption of the continuous voters registration, the online pre-registration that starts first is starting August 18th. And in-person is starting the week after August 25. So as early as August this year, people can now go back to start registering for PVCs.
You know, the funny thing about this, the only thing that stands out here for me are the elections that are the gubernatorial elections that are coming up in Anambra State. And I'm looking at it from the angle of the candidates.
Yeah.
I've been looking into it, and it just looks like Soludo is coasting home.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing anybody else that is really...
APC.
Yeah, Labour Party, PDP.
It doesn't look like they have any strong candidate.
Funny thing is that even when Soludo was coming in first, I think that maybe because it was a fresh person coming, there was a lot of buzz of a lot of people around. But these days, you hardly even... And to think that the election is less than 5 months.
And it's not of any of the so-called big parties.
Yeah, it's APGA. But the truth is that Anambra has really been APGA for the longest of times.
From time immemorial.
So it's not out of place that is... And I will still keep saying it over and over again. I think that Anambra voters are one of the most mature Nigerian voters we can have.
You can use the word sophisticated too.
Yeah.
For them. You know, because the way they do it,
give it to them.
The governor is APGA.
The House of Assembly.
The PDP can take...
Anybody can take anything else.
The federal seats.
Yeah.
They can take the senatorial seats.
And you think that at times, because the elections are on the same day, that, people will vote a set. No. There is a very distinct thing that happens in Anambra State. And I think it's very actually worthy of emulation if we look at it from the angle of this is who we want. It's not about party, or even if it's about party, this is the party we want here. This is the party we want here. It's very, there should be something very distinct, which we don't see a lot in other parties. So just wanted to put that out there before we go into politics proper. And one of the major things we're going to be talking about today is the coalition. This coalition matter has been going around for a couple of months now. And the whole point of the coalition is that they want to kick out President Tinubu in 2027, which, everybody has a right to. There's nothing anybody can say about it. A coalition of sort is what literally kicked out the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, and the PDP from power in 2015. So, anything is possible. However, before we go into the nitty-gritty of a lot of things that are happening, I thought, and this is just a really random question, I thought that the coalition was registering a new party that was supposed to be ADA. Now, in the past 2-3 days, I was hearing a lot of movement to the ADC. Please, can you shed a bit of light?
Well, speaking about the coalition, you have to even go further back to the fact that they had also announced that they were going to be in the SDP.
Oh yeah, there was SDP too. You're very correct.
And of course, there was some pushback from some parts of the SDP, but eventually we saw them having many meetings with top members of the SDP. Then at some point, they started mooting the idea of starting their own party. We started on the wrong footing because even the letters that were addressed to INEC were wrongly addressed.
Yeah.
You know, a whole lot of things were hastily put together. And it looks like that, might have slowed them down. And then, two things. The ADA, which is the party that we heard about, was chosen majorly because of the ballot paper. It's something that the APC had perfected.
Okay.
From the days of AD, it was easy to tell illiterate voters, just vote for the party on top. It was AD, Alliance for Democracy.
Yeah.
There was PDP, there was APP. Those were the three major parties you get. Then when we started having more parties, the AD, and when Tinubu left and started his own party,
then it was AC.
There was AC, there was ACN, it was still on top. But other people caught on and started doing it. There's even a party called A now.
Yes. I was going to say that too, that, like you said, other people caught on. And if we also look, remember that there is also there was a
party that was similar to
PDP.
And the presidential candidate for that party defeated a lot of people. And we still don't know his name.
He did, but it was not as significant.
Yeah.
So can we say that model, it looks like maybe Nigerians have evolved from that?
Nigerians more or less are evolving. But that voters are very, very interesting people.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a large chunk of illiterate voters.
No, because what I'm saying is that, remember that, yes, I know that it was first time with party on top. If we look at the trend of last elections, and I think even the one before that, a lot of campaigns were now built on, even when it comes to illiterate votes, not very learned people, don't let me say illiterate, is the logo. They'll tell you to now look for the logo.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that's why I'm coming from the angle that a lot of Nigerians not evolved from that.
Still, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. But yes, there are changes here and there. What it also meant was that they now looked at also cashing in on the wave. In my opinion, ADC, APC sounds alike. You get.
Okay.
So maybe that's one of the things. Again, in moving into a particular existing party, it takes them, away from the headache of trying to register a new party.
And time is really going.
For
Let's be
approval
honest.
from INEC and all of that. So what they just need to do is look for a vehicle that they could more or less take over. And that's what it's looking like with the announcement that they are going to have their coalition under the ADC. It's not a merger, it's just people more or less joining another party while retaining their own affiliations.
So I was going to ask with that now, before we even go into the people that have been announced and all that. I saw a report today or a statement from, I don't know if he's still a PDP spokesperson, I'm not sure, Kola Ologbodiyan, where he had said that, if Wike is still in the PDP and can work for the APC, then they too can be in the PDP and also be in the coalition. Now my question is, for people that are moving to these parties, are you allowed to be in two parties at once?
No,
because
you're not.
if that is the case, then for someone like, and this is just an example, for someone like Atiku Abubakar, I am not sure that I've heard that there was official resignation. For someone like former Senate President David Mark, I actually saw that there was an official resignation today that had been announced, that he has officially left the PDP. So if you're already moving to a coalition or whatever party, shouldn't you at this point officially resign from the party you are in?
Only if you're thinking of contesting an election, because you need to have been a card-carrying member for a period. You need to be a part of the electoral process in the inter-party, intra-party, inter-party electoral process, you know. So the example of Wike is a flawed one by Olubodinyo saying Wike says he's in PDP and is working for Tinubu is flawed. And the reason why I'm saying that is that that's you more or less playing into Wike's hands more.
Yeah.
The real issue with the PDP, in my opinion, is Atiku versus Wike. That's all I see here. And Atiku wants a free run at presidency. Wike will not allow it. Coming off whatever went wrong at their primaries.
Yeah.
The last
time
they went at it, where Wike was having a good run, but Atiku won him. Atiku defeated him. And the next day, the party chairman was there telling someone that was supposed to be Wike's ally, you are the hero of the convention. And that must have actually sparked off a chain reaction.
Oh, yes, it did.
So, more or less, like...
It's almost like they've not recovered from that.
They checkmated Wike's growth in that party. Like, you want to be you want to get the ticket. You're not going to get it. For whatever reason, we're not giving you. We'll give an Atiku instead. And from that day, Nyesom Wike, everybody knew was not happy.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody started courting him. But Atiku could not court him because
he knew what he did.
There was something on the table. Was it going to make him VP or not?
Which at that point might have helped.
If he had made Wike VP, they might have won.
The election, yeah?
They might have won. What Wike would have done in Rivers and the other states.
At least he will have something he was fighting for.
He had the G5.
Yeah.
He had the G5. You get. But of course that never happened.
That didn't happen.
And Peter Obi went to him, Tinubu went to everybody went to Wike. Wike became the bride. And he chose Tinubu over all of them.
Everybody else.
And we saw the results in Rivers State. For the first time, APC got a foothold in that place. So what that basically is telling you now is that Ologbondiyan, using the Wike example, is a weak thing to say. Wike is telling you that it would stand here and rebuild the party with or without you people. And you are now agreeing by going to a coalition. So that's Atiku accepting that it can't take charge or take control of PDP anymore. So it needs to go somewhere else. And that means Wike won. Like he was chiding them at the weekend, you know, and rubbing it in their faces.
Yeah.
So that's basically what's going on there. And it's actually very funny. But we all know that resignation is only important, especially when you expect to contest an election. Because if you're not contesting an election, you don't need to resign from any party.
Okay, so now let's go to ADC now that the conversation is going on now. First things first, we saw today that there was a resignation of the former Senate President David Mark, where he was now also announced as the interim chairman of the ADC, and also former commissioner, former minister Aregbesola, that he was announced as the interim secretary. First, I have quite a number of questions.
All right.
First, Mr. Aregbesola, if anybody had followed that story, had said something over the weekend saying that his wife had told him that he should slow down, basically muting the fact that he was not going to be secretary of the coalition. But here we are, as of last night, I think I first saw it on El Rufai's page, where he was putting out the acceptance speech of Mr. Or Ogbeni Aregbesola for accepting to be the interim interim secretary of the ADC. one of the major things that the ADC are talking about is that they want change. They want to change Nigeria for good. And this is me just asking a very, very genuine question. If we pick a few people, number one, Mr. David Mark. David Mark is has been in the Senate for I think, in fact, I was shocked when I heard that he was not even in the Senate again. I actually thought he was always in the Senate. He was still in the Senate. He was in the Senate. I think he has been in the Senate since 1999 or something. He was Senate president for God knows how many times and all that. I think this is in 2023. He stopped being in the Senate since forever. Mr. Aregbesola, or Ogbeni Aregbesola, was a commissioner in Lagos State for 8 years since 1999. Then a governor of Osun State for 8 years. Then former President Buhari's minister for another almost
about 7 years.
8 years. The person of El Rufai was minister under Obasanjo. He was
in the BP.
He was the head of the head of Bureau of Public Enterprise or something, BPE. Then he was
Minister Abuja.
Yes, minister in Abuja. Then he became governor in Kaduna, 8 years. If we go in the antecedents of that, we go to Atiku, who was a vice president, second highest position in the whole country.
He was a presidential candidate in 1993.
Yeah.
SDP.
And I'm even talking about official offices that they held. Mm-hmm. They've held in Nigeria. They've been in the public office. It was vice president for 8 good years in this country. And, I could go on and on and on. Mm-hmm. And my question to all of these people is, so is it that, take for example, what change did Aregbesola bring up in Osun State that people are not talking about today? Or what change is it that El Rufai did not do in Kaduna State? Or what did Mr. David Mark not do as a Senate president and as a senator from Benue State, if I'm correct? I think he's from Benue State. And the vice president and all these other people. Mm-hmm. What did you not do then that you did not? Because the only explanation you tell me, if someone wants to give me change, I might not be a huge fan of Omoyele Sowore, but if he tells me he wants to change something, he's really not been in public office. So I might not be able to say, oh, this is what you did, this is what you did not do. These people have been in public offices. Their names I've always heard since I was a child. Mm-hmm. So what didn't you do then that you suddenly want to wake up now and do now?
People change. And,
okay.
People get better. But again, I get your drift. I've seen a lot of people, talk about this coalition from that angle. But the truth about it is that politics is a game of numbers. It's about numbers. It's about interest. It's about agenda. It's about aligning or alignment. So you have this group of people who have always been friends. Yeah. Who at some points in time ended up in different parties and are trying to come back together. People forget that, for Nasir El-Rufai was not always a progressive, in quotes.
Yeah.
It was from the other side of things before, he joined the APC. And David Mark has always been a PDP person, you understand. Atiku on his own, it's both sides. He's
all sorts. He's been everywhere.
He left the PDP 3 times.
He's been everywhere.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
At least twice, if not 3 times. You get, so from the look of things, it's about power.
So that's what I'm saying.
It's all about power.
What's the point of coming up to... I know that, and the truth is, I've come to realize that everybody has an agenda, even the APC. Everybody has an agenda.
Well, that's what politics is.
Don't let's lie to ourselves. But my own is, don't come and lie to me and tell me you want change. Because you have been in positions where you could... See, a lot of people might not like, which I don't think is very true, the person of... what's his name? The former governor of Lagos State, Raji Fashola. Till tomorrow, you cannot, there's no way you will say that when he was governor of Lagos State, he did not effect change. So if he now comes down and says, oh, I want to be president and I want to effect change. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? There is an antecedent. See, in fact, you know, there's some things that even people that in the past couple of days or weeks, we've seen a couple of people, maybe not a lot, but we've seen a few people come out to say that, oh, they're not supporting President Tinubu again, that they supported him in 2023. Mm-hmm. And one major thing that a lot of them had spoken about is how they felt, oh, the things that he did in Lagos, they thought he was going to replicate it when he came to Nigeria. Okay. So there's something that you can say that, oh, when this person was governor, he effected some changes. Mm. Yeah? What change can we say for a fact? See, I'm sorry, out of that whole bunch, one person that maybe I might be able to say, oh, when he was this, a lot of these things happen. And I say that maybe someone like an El Rufai. The only, other than Wike, the only other FCT minister that I can remember in this life is El Rufai.
Yeah, and he did very well.
And he did well. That, you understand? That's what I'm going to say. Like, so every other person, you all have been, in fact, if you go to Osun State, I was serving when Aregbesola was governor.
Okay.
I think I can say for a fact that up until today, Osun State might still be reeling from the effects of a lot of things that happened. Some people's salaries of them, a lot of backlog, they're still reeling from the effect of the things that happened when he was governor. So if you couldn't do a lot of things when you had executive powers, what do you now want to do now? That you suddenly change my mind?
Yeah, again, it's back to the same thing. It's about power. And these people are politicians. They're even more or less like professional politicians. The same way you aspire in your own profession to get to the top is the way they aspire to get to the top.
Yeah.
And the only way they can do it, of course, is to rage against the machine that is Bola Tinubu and his movement and his own system. So, and that's what they are doing, basically. It's a survival mode for them. Some of these people do not know how to stay out of power. They don't know what it means and what it feels like. And a Tinubu that is there now has people that he has to cater to also, people that he's worked with, people that he's tried to do things with and for. You know, so no matter what it is, no matter what happens, at the end of the day, it's all about power. For instance, if you take a look at it, Aregbesola used to be a commissioner in Lagos, like Dolupo had mentioned earlier. Then he became a governor in Osun State. And all of that time, it was a Tinubu person. And before you know it now, they've had a falling out. Nobody knows why they fell out, but you know that they've had a falling out. And this falling out has led to them being at loggerheads. One of the interesting things, and which I always say, is that there are no permanent, I don't always say, it's what we heard and what we learned, that there are no permanent foes and there are no permanent friends in politics. So people align and realign from time to time. There's been a wave of defections and nobody's talking about that now, because now the coalition has taken the front stage. And people have also made references to when Goodluck Jonathan was incumbent and Bola Tinubu, the current president, then the leader of a party, I think ACN or so, teamed up with the then leader of the CPC, President Muhammadu Buhari, who was also then in opposition. And they got together. There are some members from the PDP. They are the faction of APGA. They are the faction of one or two other smaller parties. And they came together to form the APC. And that's why you have founding fathers. Yeah, there was a group called the NPDP. That's the new PDP. That had them Sarakis and the Amechis and co. You know, so they came together and formed the APC. And that's what they more or less used. And so that's why people are now drawing reference to that. People are now inferring that if Tinubu could do it and they were able to defeat Goodluck Jonathan, that this current people too can pull it off. But I look at it and I think there are certain differences in both scenarios, but it's still politics. Some people have also talked about how a Tinubu that was not in government was able to poll close to 9 million votes. And as at that time, he had not exactly a national spread, but he was able to get a substantial chunk of votes from virtually everywhere in Nigeria. You know, and people make references to, he lost Lagos. By how many votes? You understand? What was important there was that he made his 25%. 25%. You get, and that also showed you, one, that the population of Lagos is as mixed as can be. That there's a large number of non-indigenous who have actually relocated to Lagos, and that played out in the results. It also showed you that a large number of residents, indigenous, did not vote.
Yeah.
They didn't vote. And if you look at it, I keep talking about how our voters register as at 2022, 2023 had over 90 million registered voters. And if you collate all the people who voted for Tinubu, Obi, Showore, Atiku, all of them, we didn't get up to 50% of the people who are registered.
Yes.
So voter apathy still has a lot to play in all of this. And that played out in 2023. But now, on the side of the APC, for survival instincts, because they knew this was coming, and trust me, I know that there will be moles on both sides. I know that amongst these people that have come together, there will be some APC people there who are actually still APC. And they'll be in that place pretending to be a part of them. It's the same way with the people in APC.
Too,
there will be some people who are sympathetic to Atiku or Obi or El Rufai, For instance, Nasir Rufai's son, I'm not calling him a mole, he's not.
He's still in the APC.
He's still an APC card carrying member.
Yeah, he has not resigned.
And he's still in the House of Assembly. You understand? At some point, he would have to make a stand, because I don't think he can go against his father. I don't even think that's going to happen. We've seen him falling out with his mentor, the current governor of
he has. I've not seen that.
Kind of. Let's not.
Because but the thing is that with the way Kaduna is now, if he's not in the APC, is it going to be easy to retain that seat? Well,
that means you are doubting the political prowess of El Rufai, the father, because if he's the
at this point, yes.
If he's the one that's mooting the idea of a coalition to remove Tinubu, that means that first things first, he has already locked up at home.
The truth is, numbers don't lie.
But I'm saying
he didn't do well for the party he was when he was there.
The party that did well, the people that did well, who won Kaduna State at the last general elections?
PDP.
Exactly. So what's the guarantee that was not his handwork? Being in the APC does not mean anything.
That was FD. I get your point.
All of this is hypothetical,
that
was
FD. It's a very yeah.
So in looking at it, for him to come out, there must be something he's bringing beyond his voice and his name. There must be that structure, the number of people who actually support him. Indeed,
yeah. It's interesting, yeah, but we've not seen at this coalition meeting, which is very funny because there's Atiku, there's El Rufai, there's Amechi. We all know that, a lot of them have left the APC. Amechi has not officially left the APC though. But Peter Obi, as of yesterday or 2 days ago, had put out a statement that he was contesting on his own. Why are we still seeing this coalition conversation?
No, Peter Obi is not contesting on his own. Let's look at something like this. Peter Obi did not come into the discourse until Atiku made him his running mate.
Yeah. Very
about
true.
6 years ago or 7 years ago or thereabout.
Yes.
You get?
Yeah.
And
in 2015. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So when that happened,
Oh, that's 10 years ago. Wow.
And they lost to Buhari.
Yeah.
People would have thought that both of them would have stayed together and contest again, because now you know that Buhari was leaving. So there's no incumbency, there's no nothing.
Everybody's on a level playing field.
But as at that time, people expected power to shift to the south. And Peter Obi was a smart guy. He knew it, and he looked at it and said, if I stay with Atiku will still be president. And that's why, if you notice, he did not buy the form in PDP.
He didn't.
As much as people were pushing him and
he
talking
didn't
about
go
it,
into the primaries at all.
Some people said they were going to use their money to buy form for him. He didn't. He did not contest any primaries. He just went, like he said, quietly.
He didn't defect. He didn't defect.
And of course, got a deal with the
Labour Party.
You get. So Peter Obi is definitely pinning to be the main guy
at the coalition.
Yeah.
I saw a video today where Governor Alex Oti made it sounds like a jab to at Peter Obi, saying that, oh, he's not leaving the Labour Party, he's staying here and he's ready to fix it, unlike some people that are very quick to jump ship.
Well, it might be at Obi, it might be at anybody. And you know, of us, Alex Oti on his own too is a smart person, and everybody's weighing their options and looking at that's what, like a wiki, that's what he did.
Yeah, what's the best option for me at the moment?
For them, and maybe their state and their party and everything, you know. So Peter Obi does not look like someone that wants to go and contest any primaries, because I have a very strong feeling that if this ADC becomes the vehicle that they all agree, even adopt, even Obi, and they all move to ADC, they might be forced to have primaries. The APC now, there most likely won't be someone contesting against Tinubu
at this point, because
it was what they did for
Buhari as well.
Too. That he should get a second tenure or term, and people went there. And now that the ADC is trying to come in new, they would ask Obi, regardless of the numbers that he thinks he has or is bringing, that they should go to primaries. And I have a fear that anybody that goes to primaries against Atiku
might not win.
Will lose.
Yeah. Also, interesting news coming from that angle is that now a faction of this ADC, African Democratic Congress, has now said, in fact, they've rejected the appointment of Ralph Aregbesola as interim national secretary, describing the move as unconstitutional and lacking legitimacy.
Look, the faction will feel a certain way, whatever way they feel. If these people did not have a proper sit down with the
original owners of the party,
I don't think they will come out to make these pronouncements that they made. And hardly would anybody in the existing ADC have the kind of political strength
these
that
people are bringing
David Mark and Aregbesola are bringing.
So they're saying now that we're not opposed to coalitions, we're not opposed to reform, we're opposed to hijack, to imposition, and to speeches that sound revolutionary and hide elitist intentions beneath poetic language. So what they're saying is that they did not, a lot of them were not informed, and it looks like they're about to hijack their party.
Did it not happen in the SDP a few weeks ago? They should forget it. There's really nothing they can do.
So I hope that these things are done properly, so that you're not like shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, I'm sure they will clean up house before it gets to this.
Anyway, still about the interesting news came this morning where the hotel that they were supposed to use at first, according to Dele Momodu, had said that they got a message this morning that they could not host them again after money was already being paid.
I think it's very wrong for an hotel to pull that kind of stunt. And people are alleging or insinuating that it's the government. If it's the government that is behind this, haven't they learned anything from the past? Most times when you try to intimidate people and do all of this, it gets them more sentiments and all of that. And most of the people who have done it in the past, they've ended up losing out. Look at when, what's it called? Osun State, when they refused to give Demola Adeleke access to some stadium or some place or whatever. he ended up having. Did he not win the election eventually?
Yeah. So interesting news coming from there. They now
I hope the government has no hand, and if they do, well, good luck to them.
They moved to, I think, Yaradua Center, which that now happened and all that, and I'm just hoping for their sake, not even for elections and all that, that they are able to tidy up things quickly. But I'm still confused as to what's the point of, like you said, maybe timing. So are they going to go back to INEC and say that, they don't need that party anymore?
Yeah, if they don't even follow up, will INEC follow up? If I sent a letter to INEC and I don't give them address and timelines and everything, they'll just leave it now. That means I won't scale through the registration
process. Abi. Okay. Anyway, quickly, let's move on from that. We're definitely going to give you more updates about this new coalition party, and I'm sure that in the coming days there are going to be a lot more.
Oh yeah, because they are also saying that there are people in the APC that will join them.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see, and we're here for all the gist. We're definitely here for all the gist. Anyway, Lagos has now begun the enforcement of single-use plastic ban. It's official now. As of yesterday, it is official that there's some certain plastics that are now banned. In fact, the Commissioner of Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, had said that it's fine, people that are bringing them in, it's okay to take it to another state to sell. They're not going to stop you.
Yeah, because it's not banned across the nation.
In Lagos State, it is officially banned. And for information purposes, let me point out things that are banned. Styrofoam parks are banned. Plastic straws. So if you still have plastic straws on your shelf, I think, and you are a store in Lagos State, it is officially banned now. Because I remember even all these small drinks.
We can't use them at parties. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So all these small drinks and all that now.
There.
Yeah, they start using paper straws. So you can't use plastic straws at parties anymore. Now I'm sure that even at bars and all that now, those things are officially going to stop. Now, disposable plastic cups and cutlery.
That's where the problem will do.
Are also banned. Red cups.
No, come on. Look, see, dear Commissioner, let's talk about this.
Oh, Lord.
You see, disposable cups are reusable. They are reusable, oh. That's one. Two, Commissioner, relax now. You know, say for party, when caterer, they pack cup, they go. Now, those cups, they pour our drinks inside now. I beg now. Commish, let's think about the cups.
Yeah, I shall said it.
Jonah.
Disposable plastic cups and lightweight nylon bags.
Totally agree.
So, I think at this point we are back to reusing our bags because some of this,
as the case should be. And again, you remember that some shops already started charging people for those bags.
Things.
People were getting angry. I was like, that's one of the ways to do it.
So
that way you reuse them because you paid for them.
Yeah, or you bring your own from your house because you don't want to pay for. So just wanted to put that out there quickly. NEMA has received 104 Nigerians repatriated from Algeria. Now, the United States is set to strip citizenship from naturalized Americans that have been convicted of crimes. And I know a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Donald Trump and the kind of things that you said. But you know what? I actually don't have a problem with this particular one.
Yeah, but look, you already gave them citizenship now. They are yours. Keep them and their baggage.
Wow. You cannot want to.
If they excel as naturalized, would you say no, that they should go back to their country?
No, but you cannot go to another person's country, wait this long to naturalize, and then you now commit crimes. You cannot be doing those kind of things.
Okay.
I think it's wrong.
It's only when it's bad that it's wrong.
But yeah.
All right. We have other stories.
Anyway, Pakistan flash floods and heavy rain have killed 64 people in a week. It's such a very sad story. Now let's move on from that. And a court has now refused to squash legal advice, free Naira Marley and others. So apparently, Mohbad's father had gone to court after Naira Marley, Larry, and a few other people were released after, they were first detained after the death of Mohbad, and they were like, you know what, they've done lots of investigation and there's no need to hold these people again. His father went back to court and said no, these people still need to be kept. Now the court has now thrown that case out and said, you know what?
Yeah, his own argument is that since the coroner's inquest had not been concluded, that this could be prejudicial to the judgment. But what the court is saying is clear, that there's no link. And a lot of Nigerians don't want to hear this. They saw videos of Sam Larry storming the set where Mohbad and Zlatan were shooting a video, and it looked like he was going to beat him up or have someone beat him. That's what it looked like, And the guy claims in a recent interview that Mohbad was owing him money and he just wanted to, get his money from him and blah, 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 that he didn't beat him or whatever. But at the end of the day, the direct cause of Mohbad's death is the issue in court, is what people are trying to establish. Yes, there are other things that they are culpable for. Maybe they're culpable for bullying him, threatening him, and a whole lot of things. You get, but nobody's suing them for that. That's the sad part. Like, if the case was like, oh, you are going to court and you're saying we have evidence of these people and this is what we want to sue them for, then it's understandable. But killing him, what led to Mohbad's death?
Yeah,
and
what did the autopsy?
Did they play in it? Were they the ones that brought the nurse who is alleged to have probably treated him, as a quack or something? Who brought the nurse? All of those things. What are the direct cause of Mohbad's death? And people don't want to hear this. The instant you speak, like I'm doing now, to say I don't think that Amali and Larry are culpable. Oh, more you are gone.
You are gone. No, those things really. I kind of, I just like the kind of friends that I have here. I remember there were two particular people that they really did not agree with we kind of had, but when you have conversations, y'all don't agree on something and you just move on. Yeah. Apparently, some people didn't have it that easy. Anyway, finally, before we go, let's go to Oyo State, where interesting news is that the Oyo State Commissioner of Information, Dr. Oyelade, has announced that the renaming of Polytechnic Ibadan by the state government in honor of the former governor stands, and the protest is not working.
Well, that's what it is. We were discussing it here yesterday, and I'm actually impressed that the governor is doubling down, is not swayed by these arguments or this protest, because, again, how does that affect them? In what way does it take anything away from them as student or as an institution?
The funny thing is, I actually did a bit of reading, and the man was really truly a scholar in the real sense of it.
He was.
Yeah. According to the commissioner, also, one of the things, or that the concept, or one of the things is to look at his life. When he was announced a rector, he was just 35. At the point where those are the things that, okay, you should emulate in those kind of things, and that was one of the reasons. And it's such an illustrious son of Oyo State, and to immortalize him, and it looks like the state government is now saying that they're not going to change their mind over it.
Simple.
I agree too, because my own point was, what's the point really of your protest? So it looks like the Oyo State government is not changing their minds, and maybe find something else to protest about if you feel like, or maybe they don't want to do exam. Yeah, that's why you're protesting. You better go.
There's no more striking in Nigeria.
You better go. You have to find something to disrupt. You better go back to school. I'm just saying. Anyway, on that note, that is all we have to take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time. Like, share, subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms. It is Boom Radio NG. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time.
Peace.
I say stop reducing your saliva.